to the Minorities Report podcast. That's what we're called. My name is Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm Jack the top man.
Is that your Jack Nicholas Joker impression?
No, that's my Jack Nicholas doing the Gleason impression.
Oh, okay.
So
today we watched 1989's Batman, directed by Timothy Burton.
Timothy S. Burton. I don't know if that's his middle name or not, but it is for this show.
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet.
But spelt with
Burton.
an S.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chalamet. Named after the French dude, Charlemagne.
Oh.
Charlemagne. Yeah.
Charlemagne.
Yes, Charlemagne. That's where he got his middle name from. So, we are covering 1989's Batman.
Yeah.
I come to this movie as a kid. I remember being a kid.
89, so you were 9.
I was 8 years old when this movie was coming out. Because
Okay.
August.
Yeah,
birthday,
all
so
right, yeah.
8 years old when this movie was coming out. I remember
8
getting
years old. This was perfect for you.
a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Getting like some buttons my mom bought for me. A backpack.
You were probably
I
the Batman fanatic at this point.
I
Yeah.
loved me some Batman,
Of
bro.
course,
I was like, Bat.
Yeah.
Man.
And you were, what, 10 when Batman Returns came out? 2 years later?
Yeah.
92. 3?
Is that right? I don't
so.
remember when Batman Returns.
Yeah, so you were like 11. You were like, this is my shit.
Yeah, it was. I was definitely into Batman, man. So, because I was into comic books and stuff like that, for sure. So,
I was 1 when this movie came out.
yeah. So you probably saw it too in the theaters.
yeah. I'm sure.
So Tim Burton, they show that off, and
Tim Burton, a famous racist now.
well, so we don't hold people accountable during the time when they were rating these movies. So the music for this movie hits, bro.
Yes.
What exciting music, man! It's like this, like
You know, yeah. So this was weird for me.
yeah,
I would call this movie iconic.
yes,
I would call this movie almost historic with what it added to this property.
yeah.
This is what a lot of Batman was based on post this movie.
Yes.
The music
We're
was
gonna get to-
used in a ton of different things.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I say that up front is because I did not watch this Batman or the Batman Returns. But what I found out while watching this Batman is that this is set in the Joel Schumacher universe.
Joel Schumacher,
Yes.
took this universe,
Yeah.
and moved on with
Set it. The movies that he made,
because the third and fourth movie were supposed to be Tim Burton as well.
and they're the same Alfred and the same Commissioner Gordon, different Harvey Dent, but the world is the same world.
Yeah,
Although Joel Schumacher went fucking crazy with
yes,
it. But like that was so weird to me that I was just like, this is supposed to be in the same place.
yes. It's just that, so this created it though,
Yeah.
and then Schumacher
And even the Batman animated series took the music from
absolutely.
it. At least.
The Batman
Yeah.
animated series is straight up, it was very themed similar to this. So it came out right afterwards.
There was just so much that I have experienced about this universe
Yeah.
without having
Did you watch
to...
a lot of the animated series?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, because
Yeah.
you were a kid when they.
Exactly.
I loved that show. Yeah.
That was on like Fox Kids when I was like a kid. So now watching this, it's like I got to see where it started.
It all came
And
from.
I'm super surprised that it took
This long.
this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Burton. Jack Burton.
Jack Burton.
Jack Nicholson, top bill on this motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
First name.
I mean, was Michael Keaton a big deal at
I mean,
this
he was a
time?
thing, but he was definitely not Jack. Jack Nicholson was the get for this.
I mean, he was a thing like 30 years already.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly,
for sure,
exactly.
yeah.
So,
And was a thing for another 30 after this.
yeah, mostly as a fan courtside at the Lakers games, but yeah.
Okay.
So, 2.5 minutes of credits, man. That is egregious to me. Like, you don't do that nowadays, man. You would have something going on at least, more than just kind of
You
a
know who
trip
has
through the
2.5 minutes of credits? The Bond movies.
Yeah.
And then they pick a really fancy song and
Yep.
do really elaborate CG
Yep.
intros. But holy hell, did this feel like that.
Yes.
But more boring.
Way more boring. Yep, I agree. Gotham City, we jump into Gotham City right away. Man, I got to tell you, as soon as this hits, right, because this has been a long time since I've seen this movie,
Really? Okay, yeah. This is not one of your annual watches?
No, definitely not. I instantly fell back in love with the cinematography of the city and like the feel of the city and whatnot. it has this weird, they did a really great thing throughout this movie and throughout the cartoon show as well, of like mixing a 1920s with like a 1980s, 90s
There's
sort of feel
Art
between
Deco shit
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
But it also looks like a run downtown in the 80s.
Yes, exactly. So really nice blend with
Sure.
that. Very, there's no place like this in real life, obviously. So
Although they modeled it after Chicago now? Something like that? No? Isn't Gotham supposed to be Chicago?
it's gone back and forth. Gotham has been multiple things.
Oh, okay.
Okay. In certain visions, it's the dark side of New York. So like the shitty side of New York, whereas Metropolis is the bright, nice, shiny side of New York.
Yeah.
And then there's been a lot to do, especially Nolan really hammered that it's Chicago.
I mean,
So-
he filmed in Chicago, didn't
Right.
he?
Yes, absolutely. You set up, and this starts off as the normal Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
Two people are leaving the opera or whatnot, or the movie theater. They can't get a taxi, so they run down the alleyway, and they get robbed in the alleyway. And it's set up very much to feel like,
Pearls, always the pearls.
yes, this is the creation of Batman.
Yeah.
But it's not the creation of Batman. The two villains get away with the stuff, and Batman shows up to bust those motherfuckers. Shows up on the scene right away, and I thought to myself right away, man, we're going to have some limitations because of this suit.
Well,
It's 1989, right? So he obviously fucks up these guys.
Yeah.
Who are you? I'm the Batman. Definitely not. I probably even put a little bit
is this
too
like
much.
a year one Batman? Because they don't even have the bat signal yet.
Right.
So this is still just,
This is when he's a vigilante.
yeah. This
I
is
mean,
early Batman
technically
career.
he's always a vigilante,
Of
but
course.
yes,
Yeah.
he's
This is before he has a good relationship with the cops or anything like
Correct.
that. This
Yep.
is just like early Batman.
Everyone's trying to figure
Is
out
the
who he is.
a bad guy or a good guy kind of
correct.
Batman.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we meet Lando Dent,
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Dent, played by obviously Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
Yep, and he's giving his speech about how he's going to bust crime. Then everybody who knows fucking Batman knows all the fucking things of what's going to happen in this movie. So Harvey Dent's like, I'm going to cut down on
There was
crime.
some stuff that I was surprised. It was very beat for beat things I've seen since this.
Of course. But here's the thing. A lot of this stuff has been done before this.
Interesting.
In comic book form.
Interesting.
And this brought a lot of things into the actual big screen.
Sure.
So after as Lando's giving his speech or whatnot, we got Jack Nicholas Napier, because of course his name's Jack as well. Jack Napier is like,
Yeah, so this gave him origin.
what?
Like the Joker.
Yeah.
Because
He's always been Jack. I mean, as far as I know, he's always been Jack Napier though. So
Really?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. Because I always again, I'm very adjacent to the
Sure.
comic book universe for DC, especially.
Of course.
Really, I don't know anything about it. I thought that Joker didn't have an origin story.
I mean, like
I thought that was the big problem with the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Where they were like, the Joker doesn't need.
Those people are fucking foolish because like the Killing Joke gives him like a deep backstory of like what he did beforehand and how he was a comedian and this and that and blah blah blah, and then things went bad for him and he was in a robbery and like fucking he turned into the Joker from that. And so there's been multiple stories, and I think they even recently did a storyline called like the Three Jokers or something like that, and they used like the Joker from three different worlds, and they each had their own storyline of like, and it was like a big DC thing like a year ago or so. I've got the comics, and they like each had their own backstory of like how they became the Joker and shit like that. So there's been always a Joker backstory.
Sure.
It's, people are
Maybe
what they
just
are.
not like one Joker backstory.
Right,
This is just a Joker backstory.
Right. This is just another telling of a Batman story, So, of course, then we meet the reporter, and he's that hard beat, reporter trying to figure out who's the bat is, and we want to find out a little bit about this guy or whatever, and then we get to meet Detective Eckhart, that old fat guy, the fat detective, man. Isn't this like? Yeah, every crime movie has a fat detective in it, man. So
I don't know about more recent, but this is definitely a fucking 80s trope.
Yeah, 70s, 80s, yeah, absolutely. And so, of course, Eckhart barely leaves the scene, and we see that he's crooked. Like he doesn't even go like a mile away. He goes down an alley, and he's already there dealing with Jack Napier, and they have a little interaction. And they kind of go back and forth, and Napier's kind of like, you better watch your ass, Eckhart, or whatnot. And Eckhart's kind of like, you bet, there's some things going on about you, because already you kind of get the gist that there's a rumor going around that he's sleeping with, the boss's wife and shit. So, and obviously Eckhart knows that because he says something about, where you've been spending your nights and shit. So, the mayor's like, hey man, we're going to celebrate Gotham's 200th anniversary, and it's going to be a big time event. But like the other city planners and Harvey Dent are like, I don't know why Harvey Dent's part of this, but he's like,
because they have to shoehorn him in everywhere.
Right.
I don't know why in any of the stories, the Harvey Dent character,
he's literally a DA, dude.
Yeah, he's a DA. He's a DA.
Yeah. Like, no.
He's like the DA or whatever.
He's the Gotham
DA. But he's the fucking DA. Like, how many times have you heard about the DA?
I mean, the Milwaukee DA, never. I don't even know who it is. But like, you figure like
I just feel like in Gotham the DA is like a fucking celebrity.
So do remember that, like, so like every city,
it's on the news every day.
Every city has I don't know how, but I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure, every area has one DA. Yeah. And then all the other lawyers are the DA's assistants and shit like that. The lawyers that are connected to him.
And there's tons of DA assistants.
Yes, of course.
I'm a DA assistant.
Yeah, of course. Those cases you took to trial or whatnot against those one guys. So
gotta throw the book at them.
Got to do it, man. All people are criminals. Just it matters how much. So we jump over to Gleason, and he's like the old greasy bastard. Man, is this guy not he's got to have been a bad guy in every movie he's ever been in, man, because he's just very bad guy. And he wants to find out how close they can get to Dent and really figure out how they can stop Dent from basically busting up the criminal organization and shit. So, and he's like, Dent's getting really close to our chemical department because for whatever reason the mob launders money through a chemical building. But
fine.
So right, exactly. And he's like, look, I need Jack, I need you to go take care of the situation. Bust in there, break in there, make it look like a burglary. Get all the files out there, burn those files so that they can't fucking connect anything to us. And Jack's like, I don't want to, can't you just send somebody else? And Gleason's pretty dead on. Like, you need to go do this shit for me.
I don't understand why. What do you mean send somebody else? Your job is literally to just do the things I tell you to do.
Right.
Just fucking, what do you mean? Who else? You're the guy that I hired.
I am the boss. You're a capo.
Yeah.
Go do capo shit, basically, man. And he's not even a capo. He's like a street boss, basically, when it boils down to it. So, and of course, though, Jack heads out to the thing, and he's getting set up, man. And the boss knows he's been fucking his wife, so we jump over to Bruce Wayne's manor, and he's throwing a party for everybody. He's throwing I think he's throwing, is this the scene where he's throwing the party to raise money for the city? I believe so. So it's a party to raise money for whatever. Vicky Vale shows up, and she meets Bruce, and Bruce kind of blows her off. And Wayne sees the two reporters talking shit about his room, and he busts them out, and they have a little bit of a conversation, and he's kind of like, hey, I appreciate the work you've been doing on the city. Like, I really like the fact that you're trying to, take the criminals to task and whatnot. And he's, I don't even remember that fucking reporter's name. Dudley Doo-Wop is like, hey, man, this is Vicky Vale. She's going to take pictures and all this and that, and she's going to do that shit. So, Bruce is interrupted by Alfred, who lets him know, hey, something's going on. The commissioner took off, and he took off in a hurry. So you might want to bust it out and become the Batman, right? So Napier shows up at the chemical department, and he busts into the very old school safe, and he's been ratted out, boys. And so they head out, and the cops are there. And we get into a very 1980s shootout where they just stand across from each other, shooting at each other. Just there's one scene where they're literally 10 feet away from each other, unloading guns at each other.
This is throughout the movie, though. This is constant.
Right.
The inability for anybody to hit anything of any note is constant.
Except for with a pen later on.
So a feather.
Yes, a feathered pen. And so Jack starts running away. He starts heading up the town, up to a higher level. He gets to a part where there's levers and knobs and everything. And
it's Tim Burton. This is all so caked Tim Burton.
Yeah.
From the music to the style. Oh my God, dude. I feel like there was something very, like unique about this guy's kind of aesthetic.
Style. Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah,
now it's just like oversaturated. Like I'm like watching this, even though this is some of his earlier stuff, it's so just like, okay, Tim Burton, you and Danny Elfman, like
Willy Wonka, and all that.
It's
type of
just
shit.
you two doing the same fucking shit every time you do it.
Absolutely, man. And he's turning all those levers. I don't know what any of this shit does. I just know that it creates a bunch of wind in the den. Like, there's just wind everywhere. And he's just destroying high toxic sludge going everywhere. And he eventually gets to an upper area where he's going to shoot the commissioner.
Yeah.
And Batman shows up. And Batman starts to fuck him up. But then Bob is on the commissioner. So Batman has to let go. Napier tries to get the jump on him. Batman's already gone. Hey, Eckhart! Think about the future. He blasts Eckhart for who knows what reason. Probably because he probably knows Eckhart set him up. So
sure.
Either way.
Now, what you just did right now.
Yeah.
That little jump in logic.
Yeah.
You have to do this so many times in this movie.
Of course, man.
There are so many times where like now it's just assumed. Yeah. And like why are they even here? Or what was the thought behind this? Whatever, we're continuing forward.
Right, of course, man. We got to keep moving. So,
there's so many scenes like this where I was just like, there is zero fucking explanation for why they just know a thing now, but they're just moving forward now.
Joker gets in a hand-to-hand with, Jack Napier gets in a hand-to-hand with Batman.
Yeah.
Doesn't go so well.
Falls
into toxic sludge. Batman takes off. Commissioner's not happy. He takes off, but Napier isn't dead.
He's not dead.
So
he's just got a very white face now.
Well, you know. Vicky Vale, we find out that she's going to go interview Bruce over dinner. Have a nice dinner at a silly room, and yeah. So either way,
I feel like nobody, like Bruce wasn't a big deal in this world.
No,
like
not
he
yet.
has been in other
So
properties.
historically speaking, the story always of Bruce Wayne is he's a very cut-off billionaire that doesn't interact with anybody, okay? He becomes Batman, and he just is devoted to being Batman, and he's quiet and everything else. And it's other people in his life that convince him to be more ecstatic and over the top and extravagant and stuff like that. So it throws off even more the fact that he could be the Batman.
Interesting.
So yeah, absolutely. But he is definitely at the scene where
also, no Lucius Fox in this world.
No.
That's a character from the comics. No?
Later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I definitely don't remember Lucius Fox being in the early shit.
Oh, I thought that was always the guy who made his stuff.
No, I don't think so, man.
No?
He's pretty old. He's not as old as Batman, but his first appearance ever was 1979.
Yeah.
So, he had been around. Let me see if there's a good explanation of.
I can probably figure out a good explanation. Tim Burton was a fucking racist.
Well, it's just another character too, so it's like,
yeah. Why? It's just he took out the one black character, left Commissioner Gordon, left Alfred.
Well, wait a second, but Harvey Dent's black, and Harvey Dent was never historically black.
Okay.
So it's a wash.
Okay. Maybe that's why it was. He's just like, fuck, I got rid of Lucius Fox. I better throw him at least a bone.
Or maybe he was like, I already brought one black guy in here. I'm not getting another black guy in this motherfucker. So they have a discussion with Alfred and kind of talks about his past and stuff like that a little bit. And man, this is a scene where I was like,
this is by the way, because I missed the Commissioner Gordon stuff.
Yeah.
This was the scene where I was just like, oh wait, is this in the same fucking universe as Schumacher with Alfred?
Yeah.
This is the same Alfred.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, shit.
Right. And so, they, of course, him and Vicky Vale hook up and whatnot. And, you know what? I'm going to say, kind of fuck Bruce Wayne, dude. He's like a nice guy billionaire, dude. There's no nice guy billionaires. So,
well, this entire thing is like,
it's fantasy.
But like fantasy for capitalists and cops. This is a hardcore, cop fantasy.
Batman is?
Yeah.
But Batman fights, Batman
takes care of criminals without having to worry about a justice system.
No. I think Punisher is more like the...
Punisher is an even more extreme version of
right.
this.
I think Batman... It's interesting because there's been stories where Batman has gone to war with the cops and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So,
I just feel like that's such a, I'm gonna go above the law, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's why I've always liked Superman more than Batman.
Sure.
But, that's just...
Superman, as I grow older... The idea of Superman.
Yeah.
Maybe not DCU Superman, But the idea of
that's
Superman,
bad
comic
Superman.
book Superman,
Yeah.
I really love it.
Yeah.
There's something so, like, genuinely, I feel like, important about the metaphor of, like, what would it take? Like, given everything.
Of course. Of course.
I love it.
Absolutely. So,
I just feel like there's more compelling than just like, I'm just going to beat him up.
Yeah.
Gonna beat up the bad guys. Especially this guy, because this Batman is very cool with killing people. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So many people die at the hands of this Batman.
He's perfectly fine with killing people.
I've grown up in a post-Nolan Batman.
Yeah.
Like I was like...
Where he went out of his way to not kill people.
I think, what year did Nolan's first Batman come out?
2005.
Okay, so I was 17.
Yeah.
That's the Batman that I've known.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I knew the Schumacher Batmans, but like those Batmans didn't kill anybody either, not that I remember.
Sure.
So like...
No, because they shot him even younger. They went even younger with that.
Yeah, they really, like, they kiddied it up because the movies that I grew up with were like Mr. Freeze going, chill, like, it was definitely not this guy who was like dropping bombs next to fucking the henchmen, just watching him explode.
Yeah, it got violent, man. So, we jump over to Jack. He's getting some surgery done. And this is very, like I was thinking about what you said too. This was very Tim Burton-y to me. Like the whole surgery scene and everything. And the surgeon's like, what do you want me to do with these tools or whatever? And the tools are very cartoonish. Yeah. And he's just but Jack, man, he's having a good old time with that. Vicky and Bruce get it on, and Bruce hangs upside down because of course he does.
So weird.
Jack goes to meet up with Grissom, and he's like, Jack is dead. Meet the Joker. And then they reveal the Joker, and that face is very it's an interesting face. I'm going to say that. It's is what it is.
I mean, they had to, every Joker's had a fucked up face, no?
Yeah. For the most part. Yeah.
Wait, Leto's Joker didn't. He just had grills.
He just had the weird looking weird look to him.
But like Heath Ledger was all fucked up.
Yeah.
And
there's been plenty of fucked up Jokers throughout past. There's been Jokers that have like face sewed on front of them and stuff like that. Yeah, so there's been some interesting Jokers. Yeah. So
I didn't necessarily disagree with the choice to make his big dumbass smile.
Yeah,
I was fine with it up until now.
He's like, he's got plans though, and they're talking about how he's looking at something about the Batman, and he's like, they're worried about the Batman. Wait till they get a load of me. And Joker is like, I'm going to take over for Grissom. And he is going to bring in all the different criminals and whatnot. And they're going to have a discussion about how they're going to run things. And he lays out the plans of what they're going to do. And then people are like,
he tells them that like that Batman has no extradition laws.
Right.
But that he can take care. Oh no, wait, that's a different movie. No, I'm sorry about that.
That was after the pencil trick. Though.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So
tells him the pencil trick.
Yes. So he's like, we're gonna take over this town. If we work together, we can easily take over this town. Sure. So everybody get on board, and it'll be all good. And he's got he looks very awkward as a human face.
Yeah, I don't understand the mentality behind all of the times that they did this.
That he got the human paint on?
Yeah, where he's got the flesh paint on.
I'm sure it's probably
I think I would have preferred it if in every instance of him having the fucking face paint on, he was just the Joker face.
Yeah.
Because he's the Joker face. Why does he care? I thought he was crazy. I thought he was a fucking crazy person.
He's trying to,
there's too much of him like being like, oh, I want to, look normal.
Yeah.
Look, have you seen your face?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know why the Joker would care.
Yeah, I don't know.
He just seemed so unhinged.
I think it might have just been like...
But in this movie, he just, he was so very, I don't know. He was so campy.
All over the top. Yeah, all over the place. Very Jack Nicholson. And you know what I think it might have been? Jack Nicholson's like, I'm not putting paint on today. Because by this point, he definitely had the power to go, I'm not going to fucking put paint on my face today. So we're going to have to film some scenes without paint. So, of course, one guy's like, you know what? I'm not down with this shit. And Jack tells him, all right, well, you can just go with a handshake. And we get a scene of him, killing the guy with the handshake.
Little buzzer.
Yeah, the little buzzer.
Electric thing.
So, and he's just like, very... very campy Joker, lines and shit like that.
Yeah, this Joker was so I don't know. It definitely felt like what in 1989 you would expect the dark version of a 1969's Joker to be.
Dude, absolutely. To a T. No, I think that's what they were going for as well. Like, they were going for, like, a dark version of the early Joker from, like, an Adam... Like, you take the Adam West Joker
and you made it
make
scary.
him evil. Right, yes, exactly, and scary.
Which I was like, what the fuck? This is so silly.
Right, yeah. So, Vicky
especially since, like, I grew up with Heath Ledger's Joker and Onward, where it was just like, I'm an insane person. I'm going to kill everybody in this room. And this guy was just like, you know, like he was so...
And he was very much like... It's weird, though, because
the little gun with the bang.
He has scenes like the Heath Ledger Joker, that he's more psycho, but then also all kinds of scenes where he's dancing and partying and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's very
like cutting
weird.
Pictures out of things.
Yes,
so I was just like,
exactly.
okay, all right.
Vicky follows Bruce, and because she's going to tail him, figure out what's going on with this guy, and he gets to the spot where his parents died, of course.
Very weird scene.
Yeah.
Is this area of the city abandoned? It looked abandoned.
I guess.
And then he's just like, I'm going to leave my roses right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you later.
And so...
Go to their fucking graves.
They go to City Hall.
Yeah.
He goes to City Hall. Vicky follows him to City Hall. And there's a bunch of mimes doing their thing at City Hall.
Yeah.
And one of the gangsters comes out and he's like, hey, I've taken over, you know, for a bunch of gruesome stuff. We were good friends, this and that.
You
blah,
must
blah,
be
blah.
really good friends.
Yeah. So, of course, Joker shows up and he has a couple lines and then throws a fucking dart feather dart right in the dude's neck.
Yeah.
Right in cold blood.
And the cops are just like, okay.
Well, no.
What happened.
The mimes start unloading.
No. For a second.
Yeah.
He throws the thing.
Yeah.
Everyone starts freaking out, and the cops are just like standing there, like, oh, okay. Well, guy just died in front of us. That's right. And then they start getting mowed down.
That's true. And Bruce is awestruck by it, though. Very weird. Like,
he's just like, he's not even reacting to
everyone's getting. He even gets like a bullet grazes by his like arm.
Cops just got mowed down, and he's just like slate faces,
right? Just looking, and the Joker's just like, because I think even Jack Nicholson was like, "What is this guy doing?" Yeah. All right, whatever.
Because he walked up to the car.
Yeah,
right next to him.
Yeah, and Jack just kind of waves at him and goes away. So. Yeah, weird. Everyone's trying to figure out while the reporters are trying to figure out what's going on with Bruce.
Yeah.
We go to Joker, and Joker has got some nerve gas plan that he's kind of doing off to the side.
Yeah.
And Bob shows up with some pictures of what's going on with the girl. And
like with the event.
Everybody. Yeah.
Weirdly, he's just like, hey, do you want to see pictures from what just happened?
Yeah.
For fucking what reason? Whatever.
Well, because he earlier told him to tail. I forgot who he tells him to tail. The commission. No, he's supposed to tail Lando Dent. And then he takes pictures of a bunch of other stuff around there, too, because that's what you do when you're tailing somebody. You take pictures of the other people around them, whatever, you know.
And he's like, ooh, who's this? Incredibly beautiful. So beautiful, everything changes now.
Yep.
I just, like, the entire plot now is me needing to fucking get this girl.
Yeah, pretty much. So... Live news talking about dead models, some models that have died and whatnot. And the announcer, it switches over to the other guy, and the first lady starts laughing uncontrollably and dies with a smile on her face. And Joker shows up. Yeah. Love that Joker. And he does a bunch of funny things. And and so he's killed a bunch of people at this point in time, and he's talking about Joker products and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like, you already bought them. You know, they're in your house already or whatever the fuck.
I did the Joker laugh. And so... this is the point.
I love how in every Joker movie there has to be a scene where he takes over the television for a moment, and then there's a person tied up. Yeah, that's just like a Joker staple.
Yeah, because it was in the comic books all the time. So, who the fuck? This is the scene where I got to the point. Who the fuck, besides poor people, would continue living in Gotham?
But that's always my thing about the Joker.
Any criminal in that fucking city.
Well, any criminal this big.
Yeah.
Also, Gotham specifically, because there's like a million people. There's like the Joker and the Penguin and Two-Face.
All the criminals. And Bane and fucking... literally a fucking crocodile man in the sewers killing people.
So like there's so many bad guys that you'd think, I'm moving.
Yeah.
I'm moving.
Yeah.
In fact, the federal government would probably do like a Homestead Act where it's just like if you can prove that you live in Gotham, we'll pay for your relocation.
Yep.
Because, we don't know what's going on in there. But, there's crazy shit.
Right. Like, and it's,
also,
and
at what
it's
point does Superman not go,
and here's what I'm going to bring
up Gotham
Here's
City.
what I'm going to bring up, okay? If you're living in Gotham, and you're like, you have these criminals, you are maybe hoping Batman shows up when there's a bad thing going on. At least in Metropolis, when something bad happens, you scream and Superman's there in 3 seconds to help you. So, like, I'm moving to Metropolis, dude. Like,
obviously,
right? Like, if I like easily, like, there's no
it's between one
way.
or the other. But really, I'm moving to Kansas.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Wisconsin.
I'm moving to Star City, where the Flash lives, because there's no crime that really happens there, other than like silly Condiment King and stuff like that, who like doesn't really kill anybody, just sprays you with ketchup in your face.
Is that really?
I mean, there is a Condiment King character. Absolutely.
No, but like really, there's no crime where the Flash lives?
I mean, it's LA, so it's like much more nice and stuff like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would make sense. Yeah. I like the idea of Flash just being an overpowered God King.
Yeah.
Because, like, how do you stop the Flash?
It's hard.
You don't.
Yeah.
The DC universe fucked itself with its power creep.
I mean, it's a lot of like 50s and 60s heroes, dude.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is Superman at least has a good allegory or like metaphorical question. There's a real weight to the question of Superman.
What should be, yeah.
But everybody else is just like, and there's gods too. I'm not into that.
I mean, Marvel has it too. So I mean, like all comic books have had this kind of thing. That's why The Boys is so like loved by people, because it's like this is what it would really be like with these kind of characters. Like
Homelander is oof.
Right, exactly.
What a
like
villain.
all the characters are great in that show. Like, but like, yeah, because I mean, there's a Flash character in there who accidentally kills. I mean, that's the whole story starts because he accidentally kills somebody while he's running through. So yeah. So then we get another TV broadcast, and the new hosts look comically atrocious.
Yeah.
Because they don't wear any makeup, they don't use any hair products.
Because they don't know what products the thing is infected.
So Vicky gets a package inviting her to a nice dinner. So she's like, "Oh, Bruce, I'm going to go see him or whatever." And
the museum.
Yes. And the art museum, right?
Museum.
And because they have dinners there, and so,
but she's going to be 5 minutes late, so she calls Alfred because she thinks it's going to be Bruce.
Yes,
she calls Alfred. Alfred calls Bruce.
Yeah,
and she's just like, "Hey, she's going to be late, 5 minutes late to your museum appointment," and he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, what museum appointment?
Yeah,
so she shows up
like, "Oh, you mean my Batman appointment?" And he goes and gets a suit.
So she gets there, she opens up her little package or whatever, and it's got a gas mask in it, and of course the Joker shows up.
This Joker scene is so fucking atrocious.
So
he comes in with the boombox, and they're just spray painting all the walls and stuff.
Yeah, and then
you know what this reminded me of, and it happened around the same time, so I guess that makes sense. It had a very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vibe to it.
Yeah, that was like 88 or something like that. 89 even. Yeah.
Same fucking years.
Yeah.
But that's what I was getting from this.
Man, I love this song by Prince, man. It's just such a fun song. Like Prince did the entire soundtrack for this,
really?
Of course. Yeah. So, yeah, and they just have a nice art scene where they're just painting things and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he
a lot of dancing, a lot of hip hop.
Yeah.
Him just moving around.
Right, exactly.
Super silly.
And gets to Vicky's table, and they start having a conversation. And he's trying to explain
It was this scene where I was just like, this is like the darkest they could imagine for how bright the 1960s must have been.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, it was the 60s, man.
Yeah.
So anything that wasn't bright was hidden, like in black communities and stuff like that. So,
sure, of course.
So then he's trying to explain to her that he's an artist. And he brings in the boss's wife, who has to wear a mask. She's so hideous. And
because he splashed her fucking face with whatever he had on his face.
She, takes off her mask and has like the littlest scar right here. And Vicky screams.
Freaks the fuck out. Like when I was watching it, I was just like, wow, that's rude.
Right. That is way over.
That's over the top. That's a lady's face, dude.
Yeah.
Like have some fucking
And it's
respect.
lightly burned.
Dude, like this is how you react to anybody with any amount of facial scarring? You just freak the fuck out? You're like, dude.
It was over the top. Dude, you know what it was like?
If I would have been that girl, I would have been like, that's fucking
It
rude.
reminded me of, it was so fake to me, like this reaction. It reminded me of Drax in Guardians 2 when Mantis wakes him up and he's like, I tried to tell you that I'm not into you or whatever. And she's like, wait, no, I'm not. And he's like, and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm imagining myself with you. It was silly.
Yeah,
so anyway.
I thought it was mean.
Well, yeah, that too. But Batman shows up on a wire. They didn't even try to hide this wire on this scene, man. They're just like, we're running out of money. He just comes in on a wire. So he rescues Vicky.
Yeah, he picks her up.
Takes off.
Yeah.
Jumps in his car.
The Batmobile, it's iconic.
Yeah.
It's also dumb looking.
I actually liked it.
You know what I don't like? Just take away the nipple. I think you get rid of the nipple and
the
I'm
vent
good with it.
The air
little,
vent?
The little...
In the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the air vent. I mean, how are you going to get your air in for your exhaust?
I just feel like that could have been made better. It looks like a little...
That's how you cool the engine, buddy.
It's like a little nipple.
You know.
I think you take away the nipple and it's fine.
Okay. I like the car. I think it's fine. So,
sure.
They get away. They escape to the Batcave, and we find out that Batman's been figuring out what's going on with the Joker.
And then what the fuck does he do to her? There's nothing I'm gonna do for you, and then she just wakes up in her bed.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Knocks her out. No, and then the next scene, she's like feeling on herself, and she's like, the film, because she was taking pictures. So, because there was one thing he still needed.
That's right.
The film.
I missed the film.
Yeah. So, Bruce Wayne shows up at Vicky's because he wants to tell her that he's Batman. He's like, I'm, and then of course doorbell rings. Joker shows up.
This was excruciatingly poorly written. This scene.
Yes.
Just this little moment where he's just like, you know how a guy gets up in the morning and he comes downstairs and gets something to eat and he kisses his wife and he laces his shoes, and I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's why they borrow this thing from Homecoming. In
Homecoming?
Yeah, when he's like the villain Vulture, and he's like trying to kind of communicate it with Spider-Man. It felt very similar to this to me.
Really?
Yeah, to me at least.
Dude, I was just like, dude, just say the fucking thing, dude. And then she's finally about to say,
Shy Guy Billionaire.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, and then she's just like, oh, Bruce, like interrupts him. You don't have to. I was just like, I hate everything about this exchange. Like, this specific line, the set of lines stood out so hard to me as just excruciating to watch.
Joker shows up, of course, to crash the party, and Bruce tries to get badass with him. You want to get nuts?
He doesn't try to get badass with him. He tries to get nuts with him.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts! You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? That's something I say to all my prey. It's just, I like the sound of it. And then he shoots him.
I wonder if this is where Tarantino got the Ezekiel 35, 32 thing.
I mean, Tarantino is stolen from everything, so.
Yikes.
Well, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He's done well with all the things that he's stolen,
sure,
but he's definitely, well, let's rephrase. He's borrowed heavily. I mean, he has movies named the same as other movies, so
right.
multiple, Django and fucking Inglourious Basterds, so all right, so. I mean, he stole fucking Bruce Lee's fucking outfit for the wife, not the wife, the bride. Thank you. So, so after he's shot,
good thing he didn't get shot in the face too.
Yeah, that's true. they take off, and I had totally forgot. For some reason, I thought he had his Batman suit underneath, but he just had a plate that he put underneath.
Yeah.
That's
let
me tell you something. That would not sound.
I was about to say that's aluminum. That shit would have fucking.
His heart would be shot out his back. Yes. So. Yeah. So then, Vicky heads back to her office, talks to...
And also, this is the first time the Joker's not shooting a comically large gun.
No, in fact, it's the opposite. It's a comically small gun. This little gun. Right, no, it's the exact opposite. Yeah. So, Vicky talks to her partner about Wayne's past, and they, like, kind of figure out everything about him, and they find out that...
They don't figure out everything about him. They figure out everything about his death.
Right, his parents' death and everything. Yeah. And what's brought him to where he is now is what they're really figuring out. So...
But the thing that bothers me is that the next scene, Alfred brings her into the Batcave. When I was watching this, I was just like, Alfred, you fuck. I would have fired you instantly.
Right. Just you pack your bags. You're done.
You're a dog shit, fucking Alfred.
So we go over to the mayor's holding a press conference. He's going to cancel the parade. He's like, this thing is over with. We've had enough problems with criminals here. We're done. And then, of course, Joker here.
It was so funny when he was just like, we're going to have to postpone the parade. I was just like, because of COVID? Like, that just like, it felt like that was coming because I've heard so many things.
Of course.
Postpones happening because of COVID.
So the Joker shows up and he reveals that he's gonna continue the parade. Parade ain't canceling.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm gonna give up $20 million in cash to everybody. And you see, this to me was another very this almost felt like a Joe Schumacher scene, but very Tim Burton-esque, because like everybody in every town has a TV next to them, and it's like, wait, what did he just say? And they're all like, let's start heading down there right now. Well, he's doing that.
He's like, Batman's never done anything for you, and I'm going to give you $20 million.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we have Bruce sitting there, and he's starting to think about
He's watching him.
Yes.
On like
looking at
85 TVs.
Yes.
Like there are TVs.
This is what we used to
everywhere. Do. You would have like 19 TVs programmed to the same channel.
So back in the day, before, if you were like a sports fanatic, for instance, right, you would have multiple televisions. So you could have multiple sports events.
But he didn't have multiple feeds. It was one feed on multiple TVs.
They could, all plug to the one thing, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe different.
He needed a lot of TVs to show him the same thing.
But I mean, we've seen earlier scenes where those TVs are connected to other things.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know. It is what it is. So,
it's stupid as
I mean, like, so specifically earlier, we saw that he has cameras all over his house and through parts of like the outside grounds and stuff like that.
Sure.
And all of those feed to those TVs. Because there's a scene where he's like watching him. But he was really interested in seeing that one thing at that moment. So. Bruce starts to remember his past.
Imagine him like with the remote on it. Individually changing it to the same channel.
Jesus. So we get Bruce remembering shit, and he remembers the night his parents died.
Yeah.
And he's like,
wait a second.
Yeah.
I recognize this guy's dumbass smile.
And then he puts the thing together, and he's like, and so this is the first time.
He says the line.
The line, right, yeah. And this is, if I remember, the first time where they created a story where the Joker killed his parents. Yes. It might have happened since then, but I don't ever remember this coming up before this movie.
Gotcha,
so,
okay. Now that's happened in a couple of iterations, right?
Yes. Yep. So then, because it's the Ouroboros, right? It's the snake, right? Because he created the Batman, but the Batman created the Joker, and then back and forth. So then Vicky comes over, and Alfred is like, "Guess what? Bruce hasn't told you yet. He's Batman, basically.
He's just Batman. This is his most heavily guarded secret. You know, talk amongst yourselves. See you later. Bye."
Yeah, exactly. So we get the Batmobile.
Instant fired.
Yes. Batmobile takes off, and it's like Batman's heading to the chemical plant, gets all kinds of gunshots going off like crazy.
Batman goes to the chemical plant and kills everybody, dude.
Bing.
I couldn't believe how, like, cold, how mercilessly he murdered everybody inside that fucking chemical plant.
He's just like, this thing is done.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've only ever watched the Batman that struggles with death or with killing.
Sure.
And so, like,
to have this
was a departure. I was like, this
makes the Batman from the Zack Snyder look very tame. Where he like accidentally kills 3 people.
Yeah.
So Batman calls his car back, and the Joker's there in his helicopter, and he's talking shit to Batman. And he's like, nice try, but you didn't get me, or whatever. And then he takes off, and he heads over to his parade and begin the parade.
The parade going.
More Prince music. And
Batman's like, I should go get my plane.
Let's go get my plane.
I like the plane. I had the little toy of this specific plane. I had that toy when I was a little kid because I had never watched these movies, but I was born in 88, and so when I was like 3 years old, this plane was a toy I had. I actually had it for many years.
I believe it. And so Joker's doing his thing, throwing out his money, and then he's like, all right, when you gotta go, go with a smile or some shit like that. And then he starts releasing the gas.
And everybody starts dying.
But as you point out, your toy shows up, and it takes all the balloons away and gets them the fuck out of there.
Yep.
And Joker.
And then you have
pissed.
the Nolan scene.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, I want you to do it. I want you to fucking hit me.
Well, Joker first, he's like pissed off, and for absolutely no reason whatsoever, shoots Bob in the chest, killing Bob.
Kills him.
Which made me laugh out loud because it's just so random.
This was like a big character.
He was a sidekick the entire movie.
Yeah.
So then, like you say, come on, you son of a bitch.
I want you to hit me. But like in that movie, Batman's just like, I'm not going to kill him. And then that's why he gets hurt. But in this movie, Batman's just like,
gun it down.
It just empties out fucking missiles and like Gatling guns.
Yeah.
And then it's his aim is terrible. You know, one of the things that I will say about this Batman and this Joker is that they're the most human adjacent iterations of the characters I've ever seen. They're so barely not me.
Yeah.
You know, like
they're you with a lot of money and you with a little bit more insanity.
But a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
They have my ineptitude in everything.
Right.
They're just, he has body armor on, so he can take a punch better than I can.
Pretty much.
But like, I've never seen such human versions of these characters where they look oafish a lot of times. Like, there's a couple of fights where there's really nothing special about Batman apart from the fact that he's got like some body armor on.
Yeah, he barely beats up some of the
henchmen.
thugs. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So he crashes, and here's
like,
the thing.
Like, even his like targeting equipment and stuff.
Yes.
Like in other movies, it's just like honing the fuck in. And here, just like, I hope one of these missiles and machine guns hit, and they don't.
This is a thing where,
And
like,
then he's just like, well, I guess I crashed.
I don't mind Batman killing people if then you make like something matter from that. Like, this is year one, so it's cool with Batman killing people. Okay. But then you maybe go, he accidentally kills Vicky Vale. Or he accidentally kills you, so that, I mean, that's what a serious movie does. Yes, exactly.
Sure.
So, and
where,
that's what,
where, like in Nolan's Batman.
Yes.
Where he goes to try to save the one person, she dies.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he's got to just carry that.
And he gives up on being Batman after that because of that. Right, exactly. And that's part of his whole thing and whatnot. So, until Bane comes and breaks his back. So, Batman, so then the Joker shoots the plane with his comically large,
he pulls out a
penis pistol.
Comically large gun.
Yes.
And one-shots the fucking plane out of the sky.
The plane crashes.
Yeah.
And then he takes off, grabs Vicky Vale. They go up a bell tower. Bell tower scene. Batman says,
enormous fucking bell tower. For no reason, right? They're just going up there so that he can get evac'd?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's like, I need evac in 5 minutes. Looks at the bell tower. Better make it 10. And then heads up
just
the bell
leave
tower.
The chick.
Yeah.
Leave the fucking chick.
Well, you got to have the hostage.
I just don't feel like the chick was ever important throughout the entirety of the fucking movie. Yeah. She was such a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck about this woman?
Love interest. You got to have the love interest in the 80s.
For the Joker?
In the 80s.
So fucking dumb.
So, and
the Joker having the same love interest, to me, was probably the hardest to swallow pill of this movie.
This is a restriction of a 1980s film.
Sure.
I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Yeah. So they fight all the way to the top of the bell tower. Or the Joker doesn't, but the Batman fights through the top of the bell tower, going through his fucking
drops the fucking bell
like
through and shit.
The bell drops so the cops can't follow him and stuff like that. That's the Joker knocks that thing down.
Yeah.
Gets all the way because he uses his acid.
Yeah.
And so
I like that they brought this back.
So Batman gets all the way to the top, beats the shit out of the Joker.
Kind of. First, he gets the shit whooped out of him by one of the fucking henchmen.
Yeah.
I hate to think what Bane would have done to this Batman.
We'll find out in a couple movies. So, anyways, he gets to the top, fights Joker, punches him a few times and stuff like that. Joker gets all fucked up. Yeah. And he's like, you made me, you killed my parents and this and that. And he's like, well, you say I made you, you made me. We'll call it even or whatever. Then he tries to get away.
And then he pushes him off the fucking ledge.
Yeah.
Fucking cold blooded. Just bye.
Yep. And then the Joker's hanging there, and then he pulls his thing, and
he like lands on a ledge.
Yes.
And then pulls them both down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then helicopter shows up.
Yep.
Batman literally kills the Joker by tying him to the fucking gargoyle, which talk about a shittily built gargoyle.
Dude, a heavy storm would have knocked his
Right, exactly. How was that thing still hanging there or whatever, right? Because I forgot how this movie ended for a second. Sure, and I was like, okay, so he just lets go and then he's hanging there from the gargoyle. But no, the gargoyle broke. And then he falls to his death, of course. And then he has a laughing, like...
How did it go off? How did it go off? As he was falling, he's just like, oh shit.
When he lands on it, he breaks it. Oh. That's the idea. That's why it just keeps doing the laugh over and over and over again. So, okay. Sure. And then Harvey Dent gives a meeting, lets everybody know that when we need him, the Batman will be here.
And then they turn on the thing, and it's just like a picture in the sky.
Yeah.
Bat signal.
And that is the end of 1989's
Batman.
So, a little bit about this movie.
Yeah, please.
Critics. I would say quite favorable to this movie, especially for this type of film.
Loved this movie.
C+ to B-. It was right in between a C+ and a B-. So the critics appreciated it, but the fans loved this movie.
Interesting. Really.
This movie scored like 8.5, 9 out of 10, etc. So this was,
Yeah.
$35 million budget for this movie.
Okay. What year?
1989.
Let me see what that is.
I already have all that right here.
The inflation?
I have all that for you in a second.
Okay, what is it?
Okay. Opening weekend for this movie, $35 million budget.
Okay.
Take a guess at the opening weekend.
35 million.
$40 million.
Wow.
So it made its money back in the opening
First 3 days.
Total worldwide for this film? And this is before we had crazy worldwide, events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
400 million.
Oh, wow.
You know what that is today?
400 in 89.
Yeah. That is $850 million today.
Yeah,
so that is like Marvel level fucking film and shit. And more importantly, that's without Chinese release. Because this was before we had...
that's just domestic?
No, that is worldwide.
Oh, just not without the big...
But we didn't have huge Chinese releases back in 1989. Yeah. So this movie, it would have been like $1 billion movie if it was released today. And,
that's
insane.
that...
So, exactly.
Sure.
So
that's crazy.
That all said, those people in 1989 enjoyed this film. What did you think? Would you recommend 1989's hit, Batman?
I didn't like this movie very much.
You know, I got to tell you something right off the bat. I am beyond shocked.
This was just like, I don't have it. Okay, so I don't have a tremendous amount of shit to talk about this movie. It's not that this movie was problematic or that it was like, I don't know. What I feel like everybody in this movie did their best. Jack Nicholson's performance was so like dialed in and like he was giving it his all that you gotta applaud that commitment. I couldn't believe how serious.
Well, he got a silly amount of money for this movie too.
I bet. Yeah, I couldn't believe how serious.
He stopped getting paid for this movie like a couple years ago. Yeah,
that's wild. Now. The problem was that it was just all dumb. It was just like 80 schlocky dumb. And I've seen 80 schlock done really well now. There are movies that really stand out, like Commando and like the Terminator movies and the Alien movies were like, yeah, it was a product of its time, but boy, did they do it right. Yeah. This movie didn't seem like that. This movie was a lot of just like cutting corners, leaps in logic.
It was Tim Burton-y.
Yeah, there was a lot of like nobody was really compelling. I didn't really give a shit about anybody as a character. It was just like Batman stuff happening, which like if I was an 8-year-old, I would have been like, "Wow, this is great." And as an adult, I'm just like, I don't like anybody's motivations, and everything is really loosely written and just I don't know, poorly done and kind of gimmicky. And so, yeah, I didn't like this movie. I think as a kid, I would have loved this movie. As a kid in the 80s, I probably would have fucking shit in my pants.
Yeah.
But like, I like as a 30-something-year-old in 2021, you watch this movie and you go, this is absolutely a movie that I don't need to watch. If somebody were to say to me, should I go back and watch this movie? I would say there are a million billion things you could do with your time that would be better than watching this movie. You are not going to get much out of this.
Sure.
What do you think?
Did it hold up? Okay, so here's the thing about this movie that's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is problematic in the sense that I don't understand. If I was like a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, I agree with you. Like, I'd mostly be like, yeah, Batman, this is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
If I was a parent of somebody that was 8 or 7 or 6 or 9, I don't know if I'd let them see this movie, though. In
it's a little dark. Yeah.
It's pretty fucking serious for a kid. And I'm just like, okay, weird. All right.
I feel like we were just very cool with the
dude,
shit that kids watch.
PG-13 shit and stuff like that. Yeah, we were definitely like even Goonies has some fucked up. The Gremlins, okay, Gremlins is a kids movie, okay, and think about how fucking violent that shit was last year. So they literally shot a woman out of the fucking thing, right?
The fucking lady.
Yes,
the lady flies out the window.
So, in today's day and age, okay, so Jack Nicholson, I want to talk about him too.
Yeah.
Okay, his energy is awesome.
Yeah.
His personality as a Joker is awesome.
Sure.
That's where I stop.
Okay. His portrayal of the Joker
physically cannot be the Joker, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, he looks silly as this fat Joker because it's Jack Nicholson and he's probably already 50-something in this or whatever. So he's like, I don't give a fuck. No. Right? I've made all the money I need to make.
His performance was dialed up.
Yes.
He was believing he was this character. You got to appreciate commitment to a role like that.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate anybody who takes their job seriously.
Absolutely.
And he does a good job. He's a great actor.
Agreed.
But, yeah, I agree.
But if you made this movie now, I think you could easily have the dude who shot his parents be the Joker. Like that, he was a no-name guy. That guy could have been the Joker though. Like he had the personality and whatnot. And I don't know how good of an actor he is. Maybe not. But like just from the small thing, I felt like that could have been Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
I love him as Bruce Wayne.
Oh,
I think he's still probably one of the best in
that's interesting.
Interpretations of Bruce Wayne to date. I don't know why. I just loved him as Bruce Wayne as like kind of because I felt like he played the year one Batman or I'm Bruce Wayne that's kind of trying to shut himself off and be the Batman quite well.
I feel like there wasn't enough there.
Sure. I can understand that. Yeah. I felt the noir of the film.
Yeah.
You know, the very
really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Loved that. Okay. But I enjoyed that kind of thing.
I don't think I've ever seen what is supposed to be Batman noir done noir.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah.
I think this movie is stunningly good if you're an old school Batman fan. Like if you are a person who grew up in the 60s enjoying the Batman and stuff like that.
This is the highest iteration.
This is like your Nolan Batman because this is all that shit you saw, but like as an adult now and stuff like that. And that's why like this movie plays this weird line where it's like, let's impress kids from the 60s and kids from the 80s.
Yes.
You know, so
yes.
Definitely interesting like that. So this film, while there are things I enjoyed about it, for sure. This is not something I would watch with any regularity whatsoever.
Sure.
I would not watch this yearly. I'd maybe watch this every few years. Okay. Sure. That's probably about it for me. It's definitely not bad, but definitely does not hold up to my memories of how much I loved this movie. Okay. Sure. Still love the feel of the movie. Still love a lot about the movie. But you know what it reminds me of a lot of? Nightmare on Elm Street. Still love Freddy Krueger, just like I still love Batman, still love the Joker, still love all that stuff. But this is not the best telling of that story.
I think one of the things that I thought about when I was watching this movie is that it's so difficult. And I know that to be an impartial critic and an impartial judge, an impartial analyzer of media, you have to be able to separate what you've seen from what you're seeing. I get you. You have to give something an honest shot to impress you.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do that when there's such an oversaturation of this character.
Sure.
You've seen so much
Batman,
so many attempts to do it one way, to do it another way, that it's so hard to separate it from the iterations you like. And so because I am a newer human that has experienced most of his Batman post-Nolan, and Nolan reinvented what this character was and how we deal with his trauma and how we deal with his motivations, that when I watch something like this, I'm supposed to be taking myself out of that mentality and going, let's watch it clean slate, but you really cannot. This just feels like worse Batman to me.
I get you. Speaking of which, Warner Brothers are fucking idiots, as we know. Did you know that Batman Begins was pitched as Batman 5?
Yes, I did know this.
And was
that the only reason that they greenlit it is because Christopher Nolan told him he was going to make a continuation.
A Batman that could be it was supposed to be a prequel to this Batman.
Yeah.
Of how he became the Batman before he became Michael Keaton.
And then it was just like, I'm not going to do that shit.
And he made what it is. And in some ways, you could interpret it as Batman before this. Yeah. But then it was very, you know what it reminds me very much of? How stupid fucking Disney is as well.
Sure.
Because Disney was like, there's no way you're going to make a flamboyant fucking Captain Jack Sparrow. You're not doing it.
And Johnny Depp was just like, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I won't do it. And then he fucking did it. And I remember like in the pre-screening, the Disney executives were fucking furious. And then it made like fucking $800 million and they were like 50 more movies just like this. Keep making me even gayer. Right. Making me even.
I only want this Jack Sparrow. Nobody else matters now.
Exactly that. So, you know, sometimes these executives are fucking idiots, man.
But it's not, the problem
they don't
is
like risk is is what it is.
Yeah, it's not that the executives don't like good stuff.
Yeah.
It's that they don't care
like
about
safe.
good stuff. They want safe stuff. They want a safe return on their investment.
They want to spend $100 to make $1,000.
If you make a risky move and it ends up making money, well, whatever. The point was money anyway.
Right.
We just didn't want you to risk our fucking money.
Right.
But no harm, no foul
Well,
if the money actually comes in.
That's why there's 200 executive producers on every fucking thing now,
course,
because they want to diversify the money as much as possible. Because they don't want to spend $100. They want to spend $100 to guarantee $200.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend $100 with the chance of $1,000.
No, they want to spend $100 and make $1,000. They don't want to risk $100,000 to make $1 million, which a lot of times they can.
Sure.
Because what they want is an enormous return on their investment. They feel like they've got a secure line to that.
Yep.
And sometimes, every now and then, someone will go, yeah, I'm going to do something different. And it fucking kills.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
dude, can you imagine if more directors were just told, follow your dreams, follow your heart? I feel like we'd all have fucking great movies.
We have something like that. That's why we enjoy A24 films.
A24?
Yeah, because those are people who just go, here's some money, go make your fucking film. Exactly. So
are we going to watch
Yeah, of course. Don't even ask. All right. So, and now this week we're going to see another comic book movie.
Yes.
We're about to pull up to another comic book movie called Spider-Man, which leads me to something, bro. You're a Marvel fan?
Yeah.
You would consider yourself a Marvel fan?
Yeah.
Yet you haven't seen literally the movie that saved Marvel in a time of fucking dread. So next week, here's what we're going to do. All right. You're going to get a bucket.
Wait a second.
A 1 gallon bucket. No. Shut your mouth. You're going to get a 1 gallon bucket. You're going to fill that shit with syrup mixed with some red food coloring.
No.
You're going to mix it in a bottle. You're going to play some techno. Spray that shit everywhere while we fucking bloodbath.
Wait.
And cover Blade.
Wait, hold on.
Fuck Batman 2.
Really?
We're doing Blade. It's more fucking ridiculous that you have not seen Blade. Fuck
but it's Christmas.
I don't give a fuck. Your ineptitude of not seeing Blade has forced an audible from Batman 2 to fucking Blade, the new Christmas movie.
I guess we're not going to have a Christmas movie this month, guys.
Fuck Christmas. Grease him now? Well, okay. You were always a vicious bastard. I'm glad you're dead. I'm glad you're dead.